So today I bring you one of the cross-cutting concerns that normally we have in any architectures that we build, like managing the defects, right? So mostly it's very important because whenever a defect occurs or your application faults while in production, so we need to notify the stakeholders. We need to notify the QA or rather the operations team who is going to fix it. And then once the fix is done, then the stakeholders should be notified, and the thing should be business as usual as before. Okay, so this is something that I bring in here from one of my live implementations, one design that I had delivered for one of my customers, enterprise customers. And it is not just applicable for Power Automate or any Power Apps, but it's a globally applicable solution that I had architected or designed for one of my customers. I will talk about that as well, but again, like it's just a cake of the entire story that I'll present. Okay, so let me go ahead. So before I get into the sessions, let me introduce myself. I work as a cloud solution architect. I have a 16 plus of rich experience bringing in digital transformation for large enterprises using cloud and AI. I have published 4 books, and on Azure, of course, in the serverless area, in Kubernetes, and Azure Functions, and recently, I did a book with BPV for data platform. And as a passionate researcher, I'm currently researching in the field of digital transformation, and especially in the healthcare domain. And uh, I spend a lot of time doing those researches. And you can connect me on LinkedIn. Like this is my LinkedIn link that you can use, or like on Twitter we can get connected. Okay, so what I have for you today. Okay, basically I will start with a quick tour of Power Automate. I think if there are chances that even the novices in Power Platform will be seeing this, so I'll spend some 10 to 15 minutes of time, or rather 10 minutes of time, in explaining you what Power Automate is. Then I will discuss the use case, because this session, like, it's more of a practical implementation that we already had. So I need to explain you the use case, from where it come from, and why the architectural choice was to take this kind of an approach. So we will discuss those things. Then I'll come down to the design, where I will be discussing 2 aspects there. So one is what we are going to perform, and the second thing is I'm going to design and show you the actual thing that you handled at a very high level. Maybe it would be a high level design that I will show you, like what we actually did for the customer. And then finally I will demo you. I have a demo ready with me, but again, if we have time, I'll try to build it and show it to you. Okay, and it's going to be the lightest session, and um, I'm pretty sure all of you will follow this. May you be a fresher in Power Automate or Power Platform, or you're a pro. So let's get started. Okay. So Power Apps, or rather Power Automate or Power Platform. So now it's like a buzzword in today's industry. Like if you go to any automations, or rather like any office apps, like, or any intranet applications for your CIO, or any, like, most of the times I have seen CIO organizations leveraging Power platforms a lot, because of this no coding thing. Like it's a low code environment, right? So when I say low code environment, that means any developer, or anyone, even like if you take a train of functional folk and bring in here, he can easily catch it up, at least the basics. I know, to be a pro you have to be a pro. Okay, but at least he can get started and start learning, and it can be delivered, he can build the project and deliver it soon. Maybe like in our use case, the defect management system, if I would have gone for a traditional development mechanism, then I would have ended up in building a code that will send an email, a code that will log defects to the GitHub, even like a code that will again trigger or send some notifications once the defect is fixed in the GitHub. So all these things, I would have ended up in building all by myself if I'd have taken the traditional application mechanism or development mechanism. And again, that's a pain, right? Because what will happen is I'll end up in spending so much of time and effort in building this application. Rather, why can't I use something that is already there? Like a lot of the features are already there. I just need to leverage it. These components, like for example, connecting to the GitHub. Why do I need to write so much of code when I'm already getting a connector or other some actions or the triggers I already have from the GitHub, or that component I can easily integrate to my solution and deliver my and deliver the use case. So why can't I use that? Okay, so like here the Power Platform actually comes a lot of it's usually very helpful for you, where you can build your no code or low code environments. Okay, like another thing I would like to call out here is like the business acceleration. It brings in the business acceleration. How? Because in the traditional approach it would take around a good amount of time like to go live, and the time gets reduced by at least by 30 to 40%, and in some cases 50% even. So when you go for this Power Platform, okay, when you build your application using Power Platform, and that accelerates your business, and your revenue starts flowing for your enterprise soon. So that's again another advantage that you get when you use our Power Platform. Okay, and you can develop it very rapidly. It's a rapid development utility, like where you can actually drag drop. You There are a lot of options available to connect to different ecosystems. Like you can connect with Azure components, you can connect to like GitHub, like your Twitter or social media accounts. If you're going plan to moderate a tweet, like for example, you are writing an application to moderate a tweet, you can actually interface it very easily. So, and with having written much of code, you can develop it. You need not worry about the hosting environment, because it's an Azure, it's all available on Azure, and it's on Azure. So you just need to focus on building your application and managing the cross-cutting concerns for your application, and the rest, all everything, the hosting aspects and scalability, security, everything is managed by most of the times is managed by Microsoft. Why I said most of the times is, at times like I've seen customers asking for additional security mechanisms where you need to bake in your custom solutions. So even like it's highly extensible. Like for example, like you don't have a specific connector. Say like there is a service that you want to use, that is a newly available service, and you don't have a connector, then you can write your custom connectors. Like we saw like just before this session, like it was a very nice session where like Levin took us through how we can build a custom connector. So those kind of things also you can do. Okay, and most importantly, it has an excellent connector support. Okay, so as I've already told you, there are several connectors. Like maybe for example, we use like we'll be using GitHub connectors today, but you'll see a lot of connectors available. You can connect to SharePoint, you can connect to database like SQL Server databases, like so many, like even a lot of Azure components. Okay, and what drives the Power Automate is, or rather what exactly Power Automate is. So it's a flow based approach. Okay, so like when I say a flow based approach means you can write your workflow, you can design your entire solution as a workflow, or rather you can build your automation as a workflow, and then you can trigger that workflow, and the steps will be executed one after the other. And the best is that for each of the workflows, most of the times you can manage with the existing connector in a low code mode, or else if needed, like at times you write your custom code to interface with some third party, some connectors that is not yet available or something. Okay, and then so what else I missed? It's easy, it's scalable, because scalability factor is managed by the underlying Azure platform. And what we do with this Power Automate, like we automate our any day-to-day tasks or activities. Like one example like that I'll be showing it to you. Other example can be a timesheet management, or a leave tracking system. An organization needs a leave tracking system, so they can actually easily design a leave tracking system using Power Automate. They can actually ask the employees to apply for the leaves, like and the once they have applied for the leaves using the Power Apps, or Power Automate will get triggered, and the workflow will send a mail to the supervisor. The supervisor can approve it in the mail, or he can actually get into a Power Apps again, like, and approve it. Then like mail will get triggered that your mail is approved. So this kind of flows you can build. So any CIO based applications, internal applications, and as well as like customer facing applications can be built using Power Apps, or other power, and automations can be brought in using Power Automate. Okay. So that was a story about Power Automate. I know, like, whatever I've spoken, so most of you are pros here, so you'll be knowing this. So, but again, I thought I'll just have this slide so that we touch upon what exactly it is before we move forward. Okay. So the use case. Let's try to spend some time and understand the use case. So when I started the session, I already explained you like what exactly we are going to do here. So here we have a case. Okay. Here we have a case where we are going to host an application in production. So the application can be in an Azure environment. The application can be on an on-premises environment. An application can be on your Power Apps. It can be a Power Apps application. So like in the enterprise, we can have your application spread across multiple environments. Okay, because normally in an enterprise you don't find a single technology driving everything. Okay, you'll find Java applications, you'll find .NET applications, you'll find Python applications, you'll have your Power Apps. Possibilities are many because there are thousands of applications running inside an enterprise. Okay, and especially when the enterprise is way complex. The one that we solutioned for was an enterprise that was that was a financial institution, and it's a way complex enterprise. They also had a lot of legacy components. We need to take care of those legacy components also, like how they can, where we can bring in this kind of automation in place. Okay, so I came from there, how we can address the enterprise. Variety of languages will be there, a variety of technologies will be there. Even there will be old legacy applications, there will be modern applications, and all of these would be doing runtime exceptions, because at runtime any application can fail, whether it's a modern microservices application or a Power Apps application, or like it's a legacy application running on some mainframe servers. So anyone can fail, right? But when it fails, the important is that we should notify the stakeholders that it is failing, and also we should send a mail to the developer team that this has failed and it has to be fixed. And do you think just sending a mail will work? Like if something fails in the organization and you mail the developer that it is failing, so I don't think it will work in a Scrum world, because normally you will tend to the developer will ask I'm not going to work on this unless a defect is logged in a source control, or rather any defect management softwares like Jira, yeah, or your GitHub, or 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 in Azure DevOps boards. So unless there are no defects logged, no one is going to work. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to address in this use case a variety of applications. It can be a modern Power Apps application, or a microservices application running on Azure Kubernetes service, or some Azure functions like application, like some serverless applications, backends running on Azure functions or durable functions, or anything, or it can be an older application. So all of them tend to fail, and they'll raise exception. Whenever there is an exception, the exception has to be notified to the stakeholders, like who actually mean business for the application, and also it should be notified to the developers to fix it. Okay, that is the first part. So once the developer receives the notification, or he knows that defect has been logged, so someone from the developer team should own that defect and fix it. And once the defect gets fixed, they should be in a position to revert back that it has been fixed. Okay, and the stakeholders should be notified that now the business is as usual and we can start using it. Okay, so, and also one of the most important use cases, I need to have this system very fast. I need to make it ready in no time. So therefore, we don't have a scope of any a traditional or an older way of developing things. I need something a Power Platform. I need to leverage a low code environment like Power Platform to build my solution. So that is the use case normally we have. Okay. So how did I design it? Okay, the design is pretty interesting and it's very easy also. Like most of you, I'm sure you must have guessed. So I'll come to the bigger design in a while, but as of now, so in this demo, I'm going to show you this design. So where we'll have a Power Apps component running in your Power Platform environment on Azure. So whenever it raises an exception, okay, so what will happen is we will use the GitHub connectors, okay, to log a defect in the GitHub, and then we will use the Outlook, the Outlook connector to send a mail to the stakeholders, okay. Then once the defect is logged in the GitHub, so what will happen is a developer, like we get into a scrum, right? So daily we have a daily scrum. In the daily scrum, your scrum master will see for the defects logged or the issues logged, and it will assign it to someone. So once it is assigned, that developer will start working on it. They will fix it. Once it is fixed and he marks it as fixed, he tests it, he fixes it, he tests it, he deploys it to the production, okay, with all the approvals, and then he marks it as fixed. Then a mail gets triggered to the stakeholder. So where we will again use this dotted lines are Power Automate flows. Huh? Like I forgot to mention this in this jaw.io sketch. So once the issue is fixed, again, like we are going to use this Outlook connector to send a mail to the stakeholders. Okay. So normally in Power Automate, like I forgot to mention this in the previous deck. Normally in Power Automate, there are three important aspects to it. Okay. We have a trigger that actually starts the workflow. Okay. So like your workflow is not going to start unless it is triggered. Okay. Like something invokes it. Unless there is no invocation, it won't start. Okay. Uh, and it needs to talk to multiple environments. Like for example, it need to pull some data from the Twitter. Like if you are building a social media moderator component, or performing some AI work, then you can leverage your Azure Cognitive service. So you can build your connectors that will help your Power Apps, or rather your Power Automate to interface with different third-party components or other services and exchange data with them. Okay, for that we need connectors. Okay, connectors are what? Connectors are nothing but they help us in interfacing with other Power Platform, other third-party services. And then there is something called as actions. What are actions? Are like what you are going to do, what you are going to perform, the step you are going to perform. Send a mail to the stakeholder, that is action. Okay, every third part, any connector that you are going to use will have a set of actions defined. Okay, suppose you are using Outlook connector, then you will have actions like send a mail, okay, or read from the mailbox. So all these things you will have. Okay, so this is how for this design. So we'll have use the GitHub connector as well as the send mail connector. Okay, I'll show that to you when I get into the demo. But before that, let me show you the actual use case that we had designed. Like here, I'll just demo it from the Power Apps, because definitely I won't be able to bring my entire production environment out here to do the demonstration. So I'll show you with the Power Apps. But again, let me show you the bigger picture. But a quick question before I move forward: are you guys with me? Like I'm sounding sense. Any queries?
Yes, Abhishek. Actually, we got one question from Lalit. Actually,
Okay.
so he is mentioning that having other environments besides default, one could incur extra costing to the client. So I want to use solution, but with different environments like
Okay.
dev, UAT, production. Any idea or lead on this will help. Yeah.
Okay. See, I get you. I get you what you are trying to say. So the cost, but think of a bigger picture. Okay. like not just from the use case, not just from like uh, from the Power Apps perspective, but think of a bigger picture. So if you would have used a traditional development mechanism, I would have needed around 10 developers in my team. Like for example, for a quantum of work, like let me say that I have a X quantum of work, I would have needed 10 developers. Okay, I would have paid the 10 developers would have built me an application. Okay, and the development time, the testing time, and the go live time would have taken around a good, say, for example, for the X quantum of work or an X unit of work, it would have taken for around, like, say, like 1 year. Okay, so in that 1 year, I'm spending a good amount of cost in investing in the application development cycle, traditional application development cycle. Even I might have to leverage expertise of lot of third party APIs. I would have like for example, I'm interfacing with the Twitter or with some of the other components, then I would have ended up in writing some logic or finding out if some APIs are exposed, some might be paid, so it's a costly affair, right? So I end up in spending all on the development cost, as well as also I'm delayed by 10 months. Okay, but if I'm using Power Apps, instead of like say like 10 developers, I can get it done using 4 developers because it's a low code environment. Okay, and also my development time gets reduced drastically to maybe 4 to 5 months. So my business ends up in having like building a code or building a solution in 4 to 5 developers and delivering it. That's one part. The second part is the complexity I spoke about. I am talking about managing the exceptions at an enterprise level. It's not just about a single application, the entire enterprise. And my enterprise is a complex landscape. Like it will have Python, it will have Java, it will have .NET, it will have mainframe systems, it will have TIPCO, like so many different kind of applications I will have sitting in my complex enterprise. And I need a solution which can manage each of these environments, a unified solution or a common component which can manage the concerns for each of these applications. I will be able to manage the exceptions for each of these components, right? So how I can do that? Okay, so if I'm doing a tradition, I'm going a traditional way, it will be difficult, right? Either I have to create some build some common APIs and get it done. That's one way. You can like come back on me and say that. But the easier way is Power Automate or even like logic apps. You can also go for logic apps. Okay. So but we chose Power Apps. There was some reasoning behind it. You can take one of those approaches, either Power Apps or like Power Automate or logic apps, and you can deliver your solution, right? So had it been
Right.
a single application, you could have written code and get it done. But it's a enterprise. We are thinking of a big enterprise. Yep.
Yeah, Abhishek, this is Lalit, and thanks for the answer to my question. Actually, I have a very slight other aspect to it, because the thing is that right now the everyone, I would say 80% or 70% of the client is approaching to the automate and the apps part, and I am also working with the alliance here also. But sometimes they are some skeptical about the costing part, where someone is saying that you need to pay this extra costing with this particular functionality, right?
Okay.
So because they are also from the past background, they are doing their businesses for
Mhm.
like couple of the decades, right? So they always keep on asking these kind of questions, that don't you have any other options? So how can we mitigate the costing? Like we take the example of this. So, generally we usually get only a default environment, right? When it comes to the platform, our
Mhm.
platform. But if
Mhm.
you just want to implement additional uh,
Mhm.
environment for moving your artifact or the asset between your environment, like
Mhm.
dev to QA to
Okay.
UAT and the
Okay.
UAT to production, right?
Mhm.
So there has to be some level of the isolation of the artifact just to maintain the security, specifically where when you are dealing with BFSI lines,
Mhm.
right? Banking and
Okay.
the insurance domain,
The
right?
DevOps you are talking about,
Yes,
doing
DevOps,
the
I
DevOps
would
approach.
say yes, yes. So and as far as I know, in the automate and the whole our
Mhm.
platform, there are
Mhm.
some out of the box thing. But if you just want to achieve something else, then there are some costing which will come always,
Yeah.
right? So as a whole picture, I just wanted to understand that will that be a viable solution for every kind of industry, or uh, a feeling which I am getting is that
Mhm.
the client is still is not able to perceive what we are just saying. And
Yeah.
I have seen it with the particular line. The experience would be if a person to person, but
Mhm.
I am sharing mine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes absolute sense, and you are talking in the very right lines. So, and to your that question, is it applicable to all industries? The simple answer is no. To all customers, the simple answer is no. You need to understand your customer concerns, like what they actually need, and based on that, you need to come up. Like if you like, for example, if like see now again, like if I get into that, so like there will be lot of ifs and buts available. Like for example, so suppose we have seen big customers, what they have done is those BFSI clients, so they have a negotiated rate with Microsoft because they leverage a lot of things from them. For them, like and or rather like they have some kind of a negotiated subscription rate. So you can go there. And coming to your second question, like see, like everyone goes to wants to go on cloud, right? Like I know, like you're talking about multiple environments, how it is possible.
Right.
So here actually you need to create your different environments out here. Like for example, I'm using the developer environment. Okay, so your
Okay.
customers need to use multiple and create multiple environments for like for UT or the dev. You have an environment for testing. We have a ST environment, then production. So that way they need to have different environments. And you can check like how viable it is. And another option is like if they want to go on cloud, like you can also suggest like let's do it with logic apps, but you will incur some more cost to it. Okay.
Right,
And
right.
also there also you need to go for the subscription models, like different subscriptions for different environments. If you're actually like you are trying out because why tell this in Azure is because you can manage it in the resource group. You can buy a single subscription, and in that subscription you can do the resource groups. But again, like normally customers prefer different subscriptions. But from the
Right.
cost perspective, it's not a big matter because be in a resource group or subscription, like I don't think there will be much of a difference. But again, like you are going to have different components, okay, that
Mhm.
will be there. So like there you
So
need to estimate like the cost and see like what is viable. Okay.
yes.
And
Abhishek,
also
I have gone through all of the Microsoft licensing part and the other part. Even I did had a call a couple of the time with the Microsoft, but as we all know that Microsoft licensing is too much of complex, and when they just come with the add-ons to the other part,
yeah,
everyone knows
okay.
about it either way. So my question is that. Abhishek, can you just give that answer if you have any? That having
See,
a
I
different
don't have an answer to
environment.
how Microsoft decides the costing part. It's their policy, and normally if you are able to negotiate with them, your organization negotiates, then that's fine. But from customer perspective, call out the benefits of like how to convince as a pre-sales in the pre-sales is like call them out about the benefits, like what their use case is going to achieve. It will vary from industry to industry and company to company. You need to figure out the use case, and you need to project the same success stories that you have already delivered with other customers. And you need to showcase the things, and if they agree, then take it. And if you see the customer is still creeping about the cost and all, then better is like let them be on premise, let
Mhm.
the world move out ahead with the cloud, and let them be on premise. That's a simple answer. give and move to your next pre-sales assignment.
Right, right, right. Okay,
Uh,
thank you, Abhishek.
yeah,
Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank
yeah. So that's the thing, right? Whether we need to modernize, right? Whether you
you. Right,
want to
right, right.
modernize yourself, or like you want to still continue on the on
Exactly.
premises and get stuck with the concerns, the difficulties and the challenges of the on premises, or like you want to modernize yourself and get into the new era of application. That's obviously the choice of the customers. That's, I know, like it's very difficult to like convince the banks.
Nowadays, Abhishek, everyone is wanting a nice and go on cloud, but with a minimal costing. They just don't want to invest too much, but they just want just shiny and good looking. Everything is fine, right? So yes, you're right. So if we get any aggressive clients, so it is difficult as a technical architect or a solution architect to convince them and just to demonstrate what we are speaking about. But if any of the client are some on the legacy part and they just don't want to leave it, then always the architect and the other technical guys always have these kind of issues with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Thank you.
like we can get connected, and it's a very big discussion area actually. So, and
Right.
it's more
Right.
into the pre-sales that we do. So maybe sometime we can have a discussion, but I need to like
Sure.
take
Sure.
the
Sure.
session
Take your
forward.
time. Take your time.
Apologies. So
Sorry
like,
for
yeah. No, no, no,
taking
no, sir.
of
It's
your
an
show.
absolutely very good. It's a very good question that we normally face. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very real-time problem that you have figured it out. Even I faced this. Like, all of us face this. Like when we talk to our customers or try to sell our products to our customers.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
So now let me talk about, before I see, like I'm going to like demo you this. Okay, but before that I'm going to show you the use case that we actually delivered to our customer. Okay, the wider picture. Okay, and also the reason why like it was designed that way. Okay. So let me just quickly, I'll just take 4 to 5 minutes. Suppose in my enterprise I have a Java application. Okay, this is a Java guy. Okay. This is a .NET guy, .NET Core, or rather, let me call it .NET 6. 7 is yet to come. And then we have Java, .NET. Then what else? Say Python. Then I have a old guy. I have a old guy that is mainframe. Okay. And one more I have, that is your TIPCO. Okay. TIPCO is again another integration system. Like we have, my enterprise is based on this landscape, and there are 3,000 to 4,000 applications which are either using Java, .NET 6, Python, mainframe, or TIPCO. Okay. Whenever an exception occurs, so what they do is they drop a mail. This is a common mailbox. Okay. So I'll say common unmonitored. Okay. Mailbox. Okay. So what they will do is they will start dropping like whenever there is an exception. Okay, like suppose an exception occurred here, so this guy will send a mail here. So suppose exception happens in this .NET 6, so this guy will send a mail. Suppose an exception occurs in Python, so this guy will send a mail. Okay, suppose exception occurs in mainframe, it will send a mail. Suppose is this TIPCO guy has a exception, so like maybe I'll just put it here. Okay. So if the TIPCO guy has a exception, then it will again send a mail here. Okay. So a mail gets triggered. So whenever an application like has or like there is an exception in the application, and this on from this unmonitored mailbox, it acts as a trigger. Okay, for my Power Automate flow. Okay, it acts as a Power Automate flow. Okay, maybe Power Automate flow. Okay, so this guy will call this Power Automate flow. That will, what it will do is it will Power Automate flow to log a defect, okay, and notify stakeholders. Okay. Now, what will happen is once the issue gets fixed, okay, then there will be a GitHub component, or rather, when the like this is the GitHub, okay. So your Power Automate will log a ticket in the GitHub, and when the issue is fixed by the developer in the GitHub, the defect is fixed. Then what it will do is it will again invoke a Power Automate flow, like maybe it is for notify stakeholders, okay. Notify the stakeholders. So this GitHub component will call this Power Automate flow, and it will notify the stakeholders whenever the defect is fixed. Okay, this is the entire ecosystem. Again, it's a very high level thing, like a lot of other things and concerns are involved. So any guesses, like in the group, why I used a common unmonitored mailbox here, and why I triggered this Power Automate flow using the mailbox? Any wild guesses?
It will act as a trigger.
Yes, it will act as a trigger. I could have used some other there's a different ways to trigger a Power Automate flow, right? But why this? Okay, let me tell you. See, one thing, like I may not be able to trigger a Power Automate flow that easily from all the components. Okay. So, but mails, okay, I can send a mail from any of the languages or the technologies. Okay. I can also have a very legacy system, so a 90s system as well. So, but all of them can trigger a mail to a common mailbox. That is one thing. Second thing is I can use the mail data as audit. Okay. So that was the reasoning behind why we chose a common unmonitored mailbox, so that Java knows how to trigger a mail, .NET knows how to trigger a mail, mainframe, Python, TIPCO, all these guys, they know how to trigger a mail. Okay. So as soon as the mail arrives, it will trigger it. Okay. And also at the same time, like maybe your maybe like an hypothetical example during but that this never happens in any organization. So maybe like just an hypothetical example, like your bosses want to know your performance, so like how the application performed and all, like just an example to make you understand. So they can go and they can audit it, but there are different reasons why an organization would like to audit the number of defects logged. Maybe like they're applying for some Six Sigma kind of thing, or they're trying to trying to get some industry certifications on how they manage the processes and all. So there are different reasons why they want to get into this common unmonitored mailbox and check why like they need to do this. Okay. So now once they have done this, what next? Okay. The next is from this unmonitored mailbox, okay, this Power Automate will get triggered. This will log a ticket in GitHub, and then the stakeholders notification happens. So this was handled in this way, like but again, it's a very high level diagram, and there were not just 5 to 7 applications in the entire enterprise. The enterprise composed of more than 7,000 to 8,000 applications, and the technologies were so many. Like even I met technologies in that project that I never heard of, like even like a lot of like lot of areas, like a lot of proprietary languages, proprietary systems that they had. Okay. So now, having spoken about why I am proposing this and why this is the rationale and why I chose this, now let me get into the demo and let me show you. But before that, I'll just show you how I have built it. And again, like I just want to reiterate, like I won't be able to uh, like have this entire ecosystem available for the demo to you, but I will just show you like from the Power Automate perspective, like this thing, like just we are not going to use any mailbox to do any triggers. I could have designed that, but that's fine. I'll just call a Power Automate workflow from Power Apps, and I can get going. Okay. So let me get into the Power Apps environment. Okay. With the interest of time, I have already created the flows, but don't worry, I'll explain you in detail. Like it's just like you need to drag it, drag and drop the things and get the codings done. Okay. So we have a GitHub. Let me also open the GitHub. Okay, we'll use this repo, this guy, Docker demo. Okay. So what we have is like this is something like I was just trying, like I'm not going to touch upon this. These two workflows. One is create an issue and notify stakeholder. Okay, this corresponds to your this first Power Automate flow. Okay, like whenever there is an issue, like we'll log a defect in GitHub and notify the stakeholders. Okay, and then we have like another workflow that will notify the fixes. Okay, like for example, once the defect is logged and a developer is like fixing it, then the issue should be notified to the stakeholder. Okay, a mail should be sent to the stakeholder. This is the second part. The first one, it is getting triggered by Power Power Platform or rather a Power Apps. Okay, a Power Apps is going to trigger it. I will show you. I'll create another app and I'll show it to you like how we can trigger it. It's very easy. Like most of you, if you're already working on Power Platform, you will be doing all these things in your day-to-day basis. Okay, and this notify fixes. Okay, this will get triggered whenever like a issue assigned gets closed. Okay, so let's get into the first thing. Okay, they create an issue and notify the stakeholder. Okay, so what is the first thing? Like it gets triggered from a Power Apps. Okay, when you are creating a Power Apps, like maybe let me see if I can see it in the settings. You need to say like okay, when I was creating it, you can actually call out what are the different parameters that you need to pass on. Okay, to this Power Apps, because the what normally we need to pass on, we need to pass on the issue title, the defect title, as well as the defect description. Okay, I need to pass on the defect title as well as the defect description to the Power Flow, the Power Automate. Okay, so that what will happen is it will collect that defect title as well as the defect description, and it will log an issue in the GitHub. Okay, you can see like these are the parameters that I passed on. Huh? Like I'll be passing on. I'll show you how to do it. Don't worry about that. So what it will do is you need to create a connection. Definitely, like I don't want to reiterate that. I've already created a connection. Like you can easily create a GitHub connection. It is freely available. Like if you're working on a developer environment, there are restrictions to it, but that's fine. Like at least for trying this thing out, it's a good solution. Or else like you can look for some premium connectors and get going also. Okay, so here I am connecting it to the GitHub. So I'm the owner of the repository. Okay, and this is my repository name, Docker demo. This is the guy. Okay, Docker demo. Okay, so let me go back here. So, and I'm creating a issue or creating an issue with the title that I get from this Power App and the body. Okay, now what next? I'm going to send a mail. Okay, send an email. Okay, that the subject will have the title. Okay, then it will say dear stakeholder, we have received this defect ID. You need to give the defect ID and the body, the exception details in the body. Okay, then obviously thank you app ops team. Normally, like once the developers have built it, the application transitions into a AO cycle, like application operations cycle, where like there is operations team that keep it running, up and running, for your customers. Okay, so they own it. That's why I mentioned it app ops team. Okay, now let me go back and trigger it from the app. Okay, then I will come to the next flow. We'll see what is happening. Okay, So I've already created this application. I'll just show you, like it's a very easy thing. Okay, let me not run it. Sorry, I'll edit it. My battery is dying. Okay, so I think I'll complete in next 10 minutes, so we should be good. So this is the button that is going to raise an exception. Okay, so what is this? So normally what I've done is on the on select, you need to just give on the action. In the action, you'll get Power Automate. When you click on this, you'll get like which Power Automate to use. Okay, the workflow. Okay, so you need to just use it, and then you need to use this like it will automatically bring you this run method, and you can use that. And then you need to pass on the parameters I was talking about. Okay, when you will create that Power Platform, like when you're that Power Automate, there actually you need to specify the title and the body of the exception, okay, as the parameter. So here I am passing it. So like let me call it as say like mm, xyz component faulted. Okay, component faulted. Okay, page is getting stuck. Customers impacted, or I will call it as my diamond or the premium customers impacted. It's a diamond functionality for your application. Okay, so I need to raise an exception. So what next? Let me run the flow. Okay, so like I'm just running that Power Automate from here. Let me run this. Click on this button. It will raise an exception for me. Okay, it's done. So now let me go back to the Power Automate. Flows. Okay, then this is the guy. Run history. Okay, so 30 seconds ago this got triggered and it has succeeded. Let's see what it has done. Okay, so it got triggered, it created an issue. Okay, so these are the parameters that I passed, and in the output you got the ID, the defect ID. Let's see whether the item with 7 defect or the issue with 7 has been created or not. Then post that, what it did was like it sent an email. Okay, dear stakeholder, the defect ID 7, the page is getting stuck. Let's see, have the stakeholders, or first let's see the GitHub. Okay, so if I go into the GitHub, I will see one issue here that came. Okay, XYZ component faulted. Okay, so page getting stuck, diamond customers impacted. All good. So my defect is logged. If I come to my mailbox, see, I have received a mail that this is the defect that has been received, and with all the details that and I'm just giving a gentle note that we are looking into it and will notify you once fixed. Okay, let me go back. Now let's work on the next flow. Now what we have achieved is we are now done with this part. Okay, we from the Power App we triggered this. Now a developer fixes it, and again the mail should be flowing to the stakeholder. Okay, as of now I'm using my mail ID, like I am the stakeholder and I am the developer. Okay, so but in real time you should be doing it for your stakeholders. Okay, so let me go back to the flows, and let me open this notify fixes thing. Okay, so here whenever an issue assigned to me is closed, or see this thing now, like I'm using the free connectors, so I have some restrictions there. But you can say like if the defect is assigned to this person or to a group, then you can close it. Okay, As of now, like I'm the only person in that GitHub repo. So if it's being assigned to me, then it's closed. Okay, when it is closed, then like mail gets triggered. Like subject say, like we'll say that issue. I hope you know all this dynamic expression issue with. Let me just see the ID. Okay, unique ID of the issue. Okay, is fixed. Okay, issue with ID is fixed. Okay, then like the details. I'm not getting into those things. Huh? Like you all are already you all are into this, so you know this. And with I just have 7 minutes to complete. So like I'm just skipping those part. So I say that issue with this ID is fixed, and like then I say issue ID and the title. Okay. Now there is at least I face this when I use this, so it is not getting triggered automatically. So like there is some I need to look into it whether it's an issue with my environment or some. So as of now, what I'll do is I'll run it in the test mode. Then I will go and close the issue and let's see whether it's getting uh, like triggered or not. Okay. So actually, it was no yesterday evening when I was doing the dry run, so it was not getting triggered directly. So okay, now I'll go to the GitHub. Okay, I will close this. I'll say first I need to assign it, else it won't get triggered because that flow is for issue assigned to me. Okay, so I have assigned it to me. Say the issue is fixed now. Okay, now then I'll do a close with comment. Now let's see what happened. Did it get triggered? Yes, it ran. Now let's see what it ran. It got triggered when I closed the issue. Okay, use this connection. Then it's dropped a mail to the stakeholders. It's loading. Okay, so you see like it's with my name, issue with 7. This ID is fixed. Okay, then all this information. And if I go to the stakeholders mailbox, I see this coming. Okay, so that's what a demo that I wanted to share with you, a real-time scenario that I battled with one of my customers or provided a design for, like in this area. And again, I just want to iterate, this is not just possible with Power Apps. You can also do it using Logic Apps. You can also do it with durable functions. You can orchestrate workflows, developer-centric workflows using durable functions for this as well. But again, like possibilities are many, but durable functions is again, like you'll get into code and all. But at a high level, if you want to go for a low code or a no code scenario, you can do it either with Azure Logic Apps or with Power Automate. So we did it with Power Automate. There were some reservations, like we studied the client landscape and that fitted it in here. Okay, the Power Automate, and they were heavily invested in Power Platform. Everyone is doing it. That is the future. So they wanted to do it in this. So we tried this. So now I'm open to questions for the next 4 minutes.